By the end of this tutorial, you'll be able to write and run your first Claude Code project. This is a big deal because Claude Code is a powerful tool for building custom applications with the Claude AI model. You'll be able to automate tasks, generate text, and even create your own chatbots. We'll cover the basics of setting up Claude Code and executing a simple program. You'll learn how to install the necessary tools, create a new project, and write your first lines of code. This will give you a solid foundation to start exploring the capabilities of Claude Code. To get started, you'll need to have a basic understanding of programming concepts, but don't worry if you're new to Claude. We'll take it one step at a time. First, let's talk about what Claude Code is and why it's useful. Claude Code is a programming language that allows you to interact with the Claude AI model in a more structured way. This means you can build more complex applications and integrations. Now, let's get started with the setup process. We'll begin by installing the Claude API, which is the core component of Claude Code. By the end of this, you'll be able to set up Claude Code and start building your first project. First, you'll need to install the Claude API. You'll do this by running pip install Claude API in your terminal. This will download and install the necessary packages for you to start using Claude Code. Next, you'll need to download the Claude Code package from the Anthropic website. This package includes everything you need to get started with Claude Code, including example projects and documentation. Once you've downloaded the package, extract it to a directory on your computer, such as /ClaudeCode. Now, let's configure your project structure. Create a new directory for your project, such as /myClaudeProject. Inside this directory, create a new file called claude.md. This file will contain the configuration for your Claude Code project. For now, just add a heading that says #myClaudeProject. You've now set up the basic structure for your Claude Code project. You've installed the Claude API, downloaded the Claude Code package, and configured your project structure. Your next step is to open the claude.md file in your favorite text editor and start exploring the different options available to you. By the end of this, you'll be able to write and run your first Claude Code program. You got Claude Code set up, now it's time to get coding. Create a new file named hello.claudefile. Yes, that's .claude file, the standard extension for Claude Code files. Open this file in your favorite text editor. You're going to write your first Claude Code program using the claude.md syntax. This syntax is designed to be easy to read and write, and it's what you'll use to define functions, variables, and more in Claude Code. In hello.claudefile, define a simple function that takes a name as input and returns a greeting message. You can do this by typing def greet, name on the first line, then return hello, plus name on the next line. That's your first function. Now, to test it, you'll use a sample input. You can add a line at the end of the file to call your function with a name, like print greet world. Save this file. You just written your first Claude Code program. Next, you want to run this program and see the output. Vocabulary, claude.md, claudefile, grit, print. By the end of this, you'll be able to run and test your first Claude Code program. You've written your program. Now it's time to see in action. Open your terminal and navigate to the directory where your Claude Code file is saved. Let's assume your file is named hello.claudefile. To run your program, use the Claude run command followed by the file name. So, type Claude run hello.claudefile and press enter. This will execute your program and display the output. If everything is set up correctly, you should see the output of your program in the terminal. Now let's talk about testing and debugging. The Claude API provides a powerful way to test and debug your code. You can use the Claude test command to run tests on your program. This command will help you identify any errors or issues in your code. To use the Claude test command, you'll need to write test cases for your program. This is an important step in ensuring your code works as expected. To get started with testing, create a new file named hello.claudefile.test in the same directory as your program file. In this file, you can write test cases using the Claude API. Once you've written your test cases, you can run them using the Claude test command. This will help you verify that your program is working correctly and catch any errors that might have been missed. Now, go ahead and try running your program with the Claude run command, and then create a test file to start testing your code. By the end of this hour, you'll be able to look back at a working Claude Code project and feel confident about the basics. You've set up your environment, created a new project, written and run your first program, and even tested it. That's a lot of progress in a short time. Let's review what you've accomplished. You've installed the necessary tools, created a new project using the Claude Code templates, and written a simple program that uses the Claude API. You've also run and tested that program, which means you got a good grasp of the workflow. Now, take a look at your project directory. You should see the files you created, including your main program file and the claude.md file that configures your project. You've also got a solid understanding of how to use the Claude Code tools to build, run, and test your programs. This foundation will serve you well as you move on to more complex projects. To reinforce what you've learned, try modifying your program to use a different prompt or API call. See how the output changes and think about what you could do with this capability. You're off to a great start with Claude Code. By now, you've got the hang of setting up Claude Code and running your first project. Great job. You're ready for the next challenge. Let's take a step further by modifying hello.claude file. We want to make our program more interactive. Let accept user input and respond with something personal. Here's what you do. 1. Open your terminal or command prompt. 2. Navigate to your project folder where hello.claude file lies. 3. Run the command claude edit hello.claude file. 4. In the editor, change the last line from Python print hello world 5 to this Python name equals input. What's your name? Print f hello. And 6. Save and close the file. Now to test it out. 1. Run claude run hello.claude file. 2. When prompted, type in a name and press enter. 3. Observe the response from your program. You should see something like, what's your name? Claude. Hello, Claude. Great job. You just made your first interactive program with Claude Code. This is a small but significant step towards building more complex applications. If you want to dive deeper, consider exploring other examples and experimenting with different functions or even creating new projects. Remember, the best way to learn is by doing.